How y'all doing? So, as promised, I'm going to do the movie review. One of the movie reviews. This is for a movie that came out in 1980 called Raise The Titanic. Okay, so it's a Cold War movie, and it's they need this mineral to prevent like an atomic war. So when they look for it, they find that it's on the Titanic. So the guy says we can't get Dirk Pitt. If you read Clive Cussler books, including Raise the Titanic, you'll know who he is. He's like, we can't get divers down that far, so that leaves us with only one choice. We don't go to the mountain. The mountain comes to us. He's like, you're talking about raising the Titanic? It's a really good movie, though. The book is good, too. This is one of the top biggest budgeted films of its time. It came out 5 years before the Titanic was actually discovered, so it was not known yet with any kind of certainty that the Titanic is split in two, because you had survivors that say it did, and then you had people like Second Officer Charles Lightoller that say it went down intact. So until it was actually discovered, nobody had known 100% for sure, because they couldn't agree on anything. But the book was written by Clive Cussler, I think about 1976, I believe, roughly. It's a good book. He's a good writer. I mean, he writes a lot. He wrote a lot of books about shipwrecks and such like that. But the movie is actually really good. I know when it came out, it didn't exactly make a lot of money. I think just people weren't really looking for something like that. A mini-series on the Titanic had come out the previous year, but other than that, the 70s decade wasn't really like a lot of big Titanic stuff that came out in the 70s. So I think it came out at the wrong time, honestly. One of the ones that did the underwater work for it, the main underwater stunts was name some of y'all may be familiar with Rico Browning. He did also stunts on the show Flipper and directed some episodes, but you probably know this guy from somewhere else, honestly. Rico Browning was the creature from the Black Lagoon in the water scenes, which, the water scenes were made up most of those movies. So, Creature from the Black Lagoon the guy that played the Creature from the Black Lagoon worked on Raise the Titanic. So, it's really done well. The special effects they're as good as you can get today. I mean, I've heard some people say, "Oh, they look cheesy now." It's like, well, watch a monster movie from the 50s. You want cheesy, and people still watch those. Hell, watch Jaws. You can tell the shark is fake, but people still love the movie. Hey, I love the movie, but it's you need to look past that. So I mean, not everything's gonna be, look 100% realistic. I mean, you can't lose the fact that it's a movie. Okay, it's a movie. It's not reality. Okay, even a well-researched documentary. I've seen documentaries that have mistakes in them. So, but the movie's really done well. Obviously the sequence when she's being raised from the depths is just phenomenal. And honestly, the bigger screen you watch that on, the better, in my opinion. So, it being based on a book, of course, it's not going to have every thing that's the book has. I mean, a movie never does. That's another thing that people say, oh, well, the book's better, the book's better. Well, read the damn book then. But it's just like, if a book is this thick, okay, say it's 500 pages. Now, how much of that detail you think is going to be in a 2-hour movie? Just think about it. Especially when this movie, when it came out, it already went over budget. They are already having, a hard time doing things with it. There's a lot went into it. So, I mean, you're not going to get every page every page of a book in a movie. It's not even going to be close. The movie's just supposed to be an adaptation of the book. That's all it is. It's one thing if it's a short story. Maybe in a short story you get more detail, but maybe not. Just the way it goes. It's supposed to be an adaptation of a book or a story or whatever. Just like there's different adaptations for, this is another example of Sleepy Hollow, okay, the Headless Horseman. Now, a lot of people like the Johnny Depp one, came out in 99. Okay, I like that one too, of course. But they're like, oh, it doesn't follow the real storyline. It's like, you have to understand that the original short story was basically a kid's story, okay? So, I mean, you can only do so much with that. You got to change it a little bit to be. It's like the Disney version, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, is probably the most accurate, portrayal, of the story being adapted. Another close one, even though it was boring as hell, was one that came out in the same year in 1999. It was a Hallmark movie. It wasn't a bad movie, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you if you want to watch it, but the ending killed it. The ending just killed it, because even what happened to Ichabod is not in the original story. So I mean, Hallmark really should not try to make a horror movie. They're not good at it, so they should just stay away from that. Keep making your shitty Christmas movies that are all basically the same. But yeah, so this is the Blu-ray combo pack of the movie. This was Shout Factory produced this in 2015, I believe. It doesn't say on here, but I think this came out in like 2015, something like that, on Blu-ray. It's a great movie. But Jason Robards is in it. Richard Jordan, David Selby, Ann Archer, Alec Guinness. So it's got a lot of stars in it. Alec Guinness, you may remember, is Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. Now, something interesting about this is a little off topic, but Alec Guinness met James Dean, and this is before James Dean died. And James Dean showed him his car, the one that turned out to be the cursed Porsche Spider. And Alec Guinness looks the car over and he goes, okay, it's September 23rd, Friday night. He's like, don't drive this car, because if you do, you're going to be found dead in it by this time next week. Well, as it turned out, Alec Guinness was dead on. About 5:45 p.m. roughly is when James Dean died in that car wreck. He's hit by that Ford and spun. The car hit a telephone pole. Of course, that wasn't the only person that car killed, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, so that's a little tidbit about Alec Guinness. But I do recommend this movie though, highly. It's pretty easy to get. It's not out of print or anything. Like I said, it came out 5 years before the Titanic was actually discovered. So, watching them like making of and how they did it and stuff, and hear Rico Browning talk about it, because Rico Browning also did stunt work on some of the Bond films too, like the Connery ones. One of the ones he did, because they were basically working in cold water when you know, they were filming Raise the Titanic. So Rico Browning's like, well, I'll call you to do something being warm, you know, being a warmer climate. And sure enough, he kept his word. Rico Browning kept his word. They went to, I think it was the Caribbean, to film Never Say Never Again. So, yeah, that was the last time that Connery would play Bond as well. And honestly, Connery is Bond. I mean, if you look at if you look at what Daniel Craig looks like, or what they made him look like in those movies, he's basically a younger version of Connery. That's why he was chosen. And I've seen some people that say, oh, the Daniel Craig ones are the best ones. It's like, no. They were jam-packed full of action for one reason. It's because today's audience would not watch it otherwise. But you have to understand, these are supposed to be spy films. Spy is supposed to be the storyline. It's not just supposed to be, you know, have a lot of action dumped in it, you know, just to keep people's attention. See, when the Connery ones came out, that wasn't needed, because people didn't have that short of attention spans back then. But nowadays they do. They're fiddling with their phones, or, you know, whatever. Or, you know, it's like, yeah, you may shut your ringer off, but I guarantee a lot of these people are still fiddling with their phones in the movie theater. So, you know, it's a different time, but that's why the newer ones have more actions, because the newer audience needs that. Otherwise, they just won't watch it. If they try to do it the old way, like the older originals, the new audiences just wouldn't watch it. It wouldn't hold their attention. But, you know, that's the way it is. It's just like if they tried to make this today. Being that the Titanic was discovered to be in two, that obviously would not work, because people would have to suspend their belief. You know, they would have to suspend everything that they know about the Titanic, you know, splitting in two and all that. And the movie would have to still be set before, like in the 80s. You know, before the Titanic was discovered in 85. But people they're not capable of doing that. I mean, I could do it, okay, but I'm one out of how many? A lot of these people could not do that. They could not say. You'd have the movie would come out and be like, oh, the Titanic split in two. Why is it being raised intact in the movie? It's like, it's because it's set in a time when the Titanic wasn't discovered yet, and it wasn't fully agreed upon that it split in two. But it's just like these idiot Back to the Future fans that the Back to the Future 3, they're like, why don't you just take the gas out of the DeLorean in the mine? It's like, because there was no freaking gas in it. When you put a car to sleep, or you put a vehicle to sleep, you drain it of all its fluids. It's common sense, and these idiots don't know that. It's like, I'll give you an example, okay? Danny the Count, okay? Counting Cars, that TV show, okay? He has like 100 vehicles in his collection. Motorcycles and cars and all that. And you think those cars sitting in the museum with all, the gasoline and shit in it? They don't. All the fluids are running. They're bone dry. When he decides to wake one up, they, bring it into the garage. They put the fluids in it. They check everything and make sure it's good, and so he can drive it. But it's not gonna, have fluids in it when it's just sitting there. Especially think about it. And Back in the Future 3, it said that the car was in that mine for 70 years. Okay, if the fluids had been, if the gasoline and oil and all that had been in that car that long, it would have destroyed the engine. It would have destroyed everything. Sitting in there that long, it wouldn't be able to start. So, but yeah, it's common sense. So people they would not be able to suspend their belief if they tried to remake Raise the Titanic. That's why it would not work today. But it's fine the way it is. It's a great film. Maybe some of the special effects kind of look a little, but you'll have that with a lot of movies. I mean, even the biggest budget films that come out now, the special effects aren't as good as they could be. I mean, just because a budget's $100 million doesn't necessarily, mean everything's going to be good on it. But yeah, I definitely recommend this. Definitely check it out. You may or may not be able to stream it. I don't know. But yeah, if you've read the book, don't think it's going to be a carbon copy of the book, because a movie or screen adaptation or TV show adaptation or even a video game adaptation, it never is. So just go into it and watch the movie, and because this is what the movie was supposed to be. It's supposed to be what it would be like to bring up the Titanic to the surface, and they're like, and some of the things that they did in the movie, or how they found the real Titanic when they found it, like the funnel and stuff, and like that, the debris field leading into it. Okay, this is all explained in the making of the Raise the Titanic special feature that's on here. So that's a neat little thing that makes more sense. Hold on a second. But helps you understand it more, is what I'm saying. Really helps you appreciate it more, is what I'm trying to get at. I would have thought there would have been more special features than this, but this was early on, when as time goes by with Shout Factor, they've been putting out more special features and things like that. So maybe we get another edition of it later down the road. But I'll have more videos for y'all soon. Sorry, I'm still a little tired today. Yeah, but I'll show you what the inside of this looks like too. This is a Blu-ray combo pack, so you get the Blu-ray and the DVD. And you also get, the insert has this, so it has like the two movie posters. So this was the tagline for the movie. It says, once they said God himself could not sink her, then they said no man on earth could reach her. Now you be there when we raise the Titanic. Pretty cool, huh? Anyways, I hope you all have a nice day. So this video is going to be scheduled to drop in a few days. I'm not going to drop it right now just because I just posted a video, and I don't like all my videos to clump together. I like to give each one a chance to get views and get a fair shot, you know, when it drops. So, but anyways, I'll see y'all next time.